So this video is going to be most interesting to people who have either never done steroids and are curious, or for people who have had experience with steroids but are curious about how other people react to steroids. So I'm just going to give you a few examples. Firstly, me. How do I psychologically react to steroids? Let's start off with a worst case scenario, and that is trenbolone. Trenbolone, to me, has miserable psychological effects. What trenbolone does to me is make me extremely antisocial. It shortens my fuse, and I've got a really long fuse. It takes a lot to really get under my skin to where you would actually see me react to something. I'm a very calm person. But that fuse in my head shortens a lot. For example, in traffic, if someone's driving too slow, all of a sudden you just feel this rage come inside you. But not everybody reacts that way to Tren. I know a lot of guys that are on Tren that don't have any of those psychological side effects. They don't become antisocial. One of my previous bodybuilding competitions, I was on trenbolone and also letrozole at the same time. Letrozole is what kills your estrogen levels, and estrogen is necessary for mental energy, physical energy, sex drive, a lot of things. As a man, you do want some estrogen. So I had no estrogen, and I had the trenbolone in my system, and I was miserable mentally. I was, you could never tell from the outside, but inside I was just feeling antisocial and depressed, and with dieting, it was just so miserable for me on the inside that's when I said to myself, I don't want to compete anymore unless I can find a healthier way to do it, both physically and mentally. And that's when I resorted to SARMs, so Ostarine, Ostamuscle, Ligandrol, LGD-4033, MK677, Ibutramine, oral growth hormone. So these are the SARMs that are healthier than steroids that I've now replaced. So my mental outlook is incredible. My energy is high. I'm going to stay on these things all year round. And so it solved my steroid problems. Would I go back to do Tren again? Whew. Maybe for short bursts. Maybe I can handle it for a few weeks, probably. But for me personally, I can't imagine doing 6 weeks again. I mean, what happened last time is I have a lot of female friends, and it really makes me impatient with the females. And so I alienated all of them. And I had absolutely no sex drive because of letrozole. I mean, you could take the hottest girl, put her right in front of me naked, have her dancing on me, and it might as well be an old man. I mean, absolutely no effect whatsoever, none. So I lost all my girlfriends, and then after the cycle was over, I was like, wait a second, now I'm all alone, and I don't want to be alone anymore because I'm not on Tren anymore. Now I actually want to be part of society, and I've alienated all my girlfriends. So I had to work hard to get those connections back. But not all steroids have this effect, okay? Trenbolone does, and halotestin is said to also, but halotestin never had that effect on me. Might have given me some more mental energy, but I never felt the shortened fuse or the aggression or anything like that. Of course, halotestin I run in lower dosages for a shorter period of time because it's extremely liver toxic. Let's talk about the good psychological effects of steroids now. I'd put them in two different categories. One is directly affecting you psychologically, giving you a positive mental outlook and positive mental energy. And most of the steroids do that, testosterone especially, most of all. The other type is the indirect, because you feel good, because you start looking better, you start having more physical energy, physical stamina, you heal faster, you feel superhuman, which in turn makes you feel good. So testosterone, for example, does all of that feel-good stuff. It directly makes you feel better, and it indirectly makes you feel better by increasing your stamina, strength, and performance. Now, I don't like when people refer to steroids as drugs, but when it comes to the mental game, they can be considered a drug because, in my opinion, because I have friends that when they're off steroids, they feel like crap. Not because it's actually a direct psychological effect, but it's an indirect effect because they used to feel superhuman. They used to have incredible sexual performance while they were on steroids. They used to have incredible energy and incredible strength and stamina. And then when they're off steroids, they feel normal again. And so when you go from feeling superhuman to feeling normal, normal can be depressing. Well, steroids change the relation between your normal self and this new superhuman self, and sometimes it's hard to accept normal once you've experienced superhuman. Another friend decided that it's not even worth working out when he's not on steroids, because when he's on steroids he makes incredible gains and progress, and you can see the progress on a daily basis, and your strength is going up and your muscle size is going up and your fat's decreasing. And without steroids, progress comes much slower, and so it's depressing to someone who's used to the fast progress. Just a few final steroid psychological effects that I've experienced is Proviron, which is a DHT-based steroid. Now that gave me a boost of mental energy and more drive, more sex. And one time I came off a cycle and I went on a high dose of Clomid, and that made me extremely emotional. So I was crying every time I thought of a happy thought, or mostly happiness type things. Like if I went to watch a romantic comedy, you could forget about it. I was crying the entire time.